All right, welcome. That is not what we need up on the screen. Hang on. Welcome, everybody. Postgame show. That went about as I expected it to. I called Arkansas to lose this game. I thought Baylor had a wake-up call against the Zags. They were sleepwalking in that game, and they got punished for it. They weren't going to allow that to happen again. And here we are. Much to talk about. Was really hoping Arkansas could pull this thing off at the end. I believe the largest lead tonight was 11 points for Baylor. And Arkansas did a good job of fighting back, getting back into it. But, man, they just oof. Got a lot to work on. So we're going to talk about it all. Please feel free to take the poll here. Hogs are fine. 74% of you say yes, 26% of you say no, and I'm sure none of those 26% are Kentucky fans, but you know, I kind of wonder how much of the game they actually paid attention to outside of being keyboard warriors on Twitter and on YouTube. Can they pull out their bias against Coach Cal and their hatred for Arkansas? No, they can't. I love it. They say the Kentucky fans are saying I'm quick-tempered. No, I'm not. But some of the criticisms against Arkansas tonight, valid, very valid. But again, I had a feeling. This is why I didn't want to predict the entire season. You guys go back to it. I've had some people ask me about it. Why not give a full prediction? Because you don't know what you have until you get closer to conference play, and you don't know what you have, period, anyways. But why go into the full season when you know there's going to be speed bumps along the way? And it's a issue of trying to figure out which one of those games, where's the speed bumps, right? And Baylor was absolutely one of them. They're a speed bump, and Arkansas struggled in a lot of areas tonight against Kentucky, or excuse me, not against Kentucky, against Baylor. I'm going to ask the Kentucky fans be respectful, and Arkansas fans, if Kentucky fans are being respectful, let's be respectful to them. Peanut Butter Posse says, I'm not here to troll. I honestly feel sorry for you. I can see it in your eyes. Reality sank in. Are you getting lost in my eyes, Peanut Butter Posse? Is there something there you like? Paying attention to my eyes? Weird. Anyways, yeah. Shout out to Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. They get them. Hundreds of five-star views. 501-244-3667. That's the number to call. Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. See, this is the way it's going to be, and this just goes to show you how ass hurt Kentucky fans are still over Coach Cal. Had they won tonight, there wouldn't be a single Kentucky fan, maybe one in the live chat, maybe one or two, telling you how overrated the opponent is or whatever. But when they lose, expect this everywhere you go. They are beyond obsessed. This is like that girlfriend that you broke up with. She was clingy, you know, and then they're just going to be around. They're going to always be around. They're going to say hateful things about you, and they're going to shit talk. They're going to show up. That's just how it is, man. Flan and Wagner's on-ball defense is incredible. I liked what Flan did for the most part tonight. I thought their defense tonight is there's a lot there. You know, the cleanup around the rim was not there tonight. We've been trying to tell you guys Calipari's liability when the talent doesn't take over. It's almost like he's got a whole new roster. He's at a whole new job. He's had an assistant tree shakeup. It's almost like there's growing pains. You saw what happened to Baylor when they played the Zags. You saw what happened when these new teams with all the double-digit amount of newbies they have on their roster, it's almost like there's growing pains along the way. I don't know, man. Michael Burnett wants to know, where was the halftime adjustment? I thought they did adjust a little bit in the second half. What's up? I don't know who you are. You don't have a name. That's weird. Thero might be more athletic than Council was. Brandon Hall says, we're a trash can. We shot too many threes, and we didn't get our big man involved. They couldn't drive the damn ball. A lot of that had to do with that kind of stretch zone that Baylor was playing. Arkansas really struggled against that stretch zone. I mean, it was rough. Hey, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Shout out to Arkansas Sports Network. Oh, Jeff Rush on Facebook. Jeff Rush, I think you might want to just sit this one out. If you're talking to me, sit this one out, buddy. Easton Brewer wants to know if we can beat Texas. Well, we'll talk about that next week. It's funny how people complain about the media and what people say here and there. It's funny how they complain about that, and yet you're in here and you're literally listening. And you're taking shots at people. Great. You're awesome. Jacob P. Toom. We need a better interior presence. I thought the cleanup around the rim was terrible. I thought they got lost time and time again. I don't know if I thought Big Z, I'm a little bit surprised at his playing time so far, and I'm a little bit surprised at just how lost on both ends of the floor he can be sometimes. I don't know. I realize you like his length, and he is pretty athletic and moves pretty well for a guy that's 7 feet plus, but I just kind of expected a little bit more out of him defensively. And we're just not seeing it yet. And I think some of that has to do with, shaking a little bit of the rust off, playing better opponents. You're playing against a different Baylor team tonight. And they really struggled with fluidity on both sides of the ball. Cohesion just was not there. Until you had those moments. In the first half, Arkansas starts to go full court press, and it completely changed the game. Arkansas made it a closer game, and then they stopped. And then Baylor got back into rhythm. I really thought they would do that a little more throughout the first half. Again, and when you start things off as poorly as Arkansas did shooting, guys, I mean, they were 0 for 9 outside shooting. 0 for 9. Didn't hit a 3 until their 10th attempt. Atrocious shooting. Shot selection was so-so. I'm not too mad at some of the shots. Sometimes, again, you get it. You're going to lean on your guards to make plays outside. And I understand people are complaining about the dribble or about not driving to the rim more. That Baylor zone defense had something to say about that. I mean, they were trying to – there's a reason why early on in that game you saw Arkansas's guards trying to move the ball around, trying to toss the ball around a little bit to get Baylor to shake a little bit. And then Arkansas's next thing they want to do is start to probe the interior, see what they could do. And there was just not much there. So, again, if you watch the game and understand what's happening, that zone defense was just – it was good. It was disciplined. They had active hands, active arms, spreading out. The space discipline was good. They knew where everyone was at defensively and who was in front of them in their zone. It was very well. It was some of the best zone defense. It was good. Yeah, I thought Arkansas settled for too many shots. Again, the shot selection I'm not ecstatic with in the first half. But it was more about, or just as much about what Baylor was doing defensively. Baylor looked far better, way better defensively tonight than they did against the Zags. And Arkansas is loaded up with talent. They've got talent too. Despite what Kentucky fans will have you believe, they do have a Hall of Fame coach who should be used to what he's dealing with. dealing with the level of play you're going to get. Listen, Arkansas is going to have a target on their back because of Coach Cal, because he's got the spotlight. They know who's coming to town. They know this Arkansas team is loaded down. They know that. They're going to give you their best. I don't think they did that for the Zags. I really don't. I think 9 times out of 10, the Zags do not win by that margin. The way Baylor played tonight was impressive. Now, again, Arkansas the discipline on defense was not there, especially in the paint. The first 8 of their 10 points all came in the paint. Easy backdoor cutters, screens, off-ball screens. Like, it was all there, all available. Their arsenal was full go. They scored 40-something points in the first half. They were rolling. Arkansas did make some defensive adjustments in the second half, but we never really saw them get back to that level of energy and you could just tell that Arkansas, something just never came back after that full court press switch in the first half. They never could get back to that. And Baylor's got speed. They've got talent. They've got the right pieces. They got a coach who's won 22, 23-plus games. I think 10 of the last 12 seasons or something wild. 11 of the last 12, 13. He's won at least 22 games. He's won double-digit conference wins the last, 8 out of 10 years. I mean, he is this is a veteran coach. He's been there 2 decades. He knows what he's doing. You had 2 really good coaches going at it tonight. I just thought Baylor's execution was just far better. Their shot selection was really good in the first half. Athletic. They cut the lanes beautifully. I'll tell you this much. I did not like the officiating through about 60% of that game. And then it got better as the game went on. But, in the first half, Arkansas could not buy a foul down and around the paint. Now, however, I will say Baylor got away with some, but Arkansas did as well in the second half. So you can't put this on officiating. If you do, you just, rewatch the game. You could talk about contact every time these guys drive a lane. There was some of that in the first half where I thought Thiero was getting abused. Brazil got slapped and there was no call. And then they were calling some really ticky-tack shit against Arkansas on the other end of the floor defensively. But for the most part, I thought that, this was not an officiating thing. This was Baylor out-executing in Arkansas's lane discipline, their inability to switch off down and around the post. Very bad post discipline. I was not impressed with what they were doing around the rim. Really about 12 feet and in, they were either giving up easy lanes, easy drives to the basket, or there was no protection around the rim. Guys not peeling off. I'm surprised there weren't more backdoor cutters against Arkansas. There's just a lack of discipline around the rim for Arkansas defensively. They're struggling to get easy buckets. They struggled tonight to get easy buckets. They have to really listen. When you've got athletes like Baylor does, and you could play that kind of stretch zone defense, and the opposing team is shooting, what was it in the first half? It was bad. What was Arkansas shooting in the first half? They were 2 of 12 outside shooting. 2 of 12. That's just south of 17%. They weren't knocking down very many, if any, floaters. No 15, 13-footers. They were having to either get it at the free throw line, where in the first half, 9 of Arkansas's points came from the free throw line. They were 9 of 11 in the first half, 82% at the free throw line. There was no fear from Arkansas with those mid-range jumpers or anything beyond the arc. There's no fear. Arkansas is an atrocious three-point shooting team. I think that much now through 4 games, even though 2 were exhibition, we have to understand that. This is not a good outside shooting team, and that is a concern because it's very clear you're going to play a little stretch zone and not really worry about your forwards or your 4s and your 3s and 4s peeling off and playing outside. They're not concerned about that. Or they could play inside if they want. There's no concern. If you're shooting 2 of your first 12, you're 0 for your first 9, awful. Some of those you thought they were going to go in, and they bricked. But they certainly built a hell of a brick house tonight. They also just shot. They were 11 of 30 in the first half. 11 of 30. Only 6 points from your bench in the first half. 4 from Richmond, and then just 2 from Brazil. We also got to ask ourselves, what is Brazil doing? He had a nice cleanup. I think he had a couple of decent cleanup. Well, he had one cleanup moment, and then outside of that, I don't know what he brings to the table. Again, it goes back to that analogy we talked about with him last year. And the year before that, last year when he came back, there was this square peg, round hole analogy we used over and over. And it is, again, he feels like a square. I'm not saying he did things bad on defense. He wasn't great. I don't know that anybody played great defense, at least not for the whole game. I thought second half they cleaned some things up. There were some better lane discipline, but they still struggled with cleanup around the rim. Again, there's a lot of nuts and bolts and cogs Cal is trying to piece together. And I said from the get-go, non-conference is going to be a little bit challenging. You're going to lose some games. I don't think Baylor's a top 10 team, but they certainly played pretty damn close to one tonight. I would have no argument with them not moving at all out of the top 10 outside of their blowout loss to the Zags. But they looked more like a top 10 team. They did blow a pretty nice lead there a couple times, and Arkansas was able to shrink the deficit. But, yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on both ends of the floor for this team. And there's probably more work cut out for them than I thought there would be. And, again, we could sit here and blame Cal all we want. Cal walked into this team, had nobody on roster when he took over. Not that long ago. He had to piece this team together, and not that they're the only team that had to do that. I get it. A lot of teams had to do that. A lot of teams are having to piece things together, but not very many teams, or not very many, teams like Arkansas, where you're taking over a guy like Musselman, who, by the way, up until last year was the most successful postseason coach in the SEC up until last year, at least for the 3 previous years before COVID, or immediately after COVID, I should say. But you're taking over a program where you had to completely rebuild the roster from the ground up. I think he did a great job. I really did. Anybody else would kill to have this roster. But it's about piecing the cogs and the nuts and bolts together, and hopefully you build an awesome basketball machine. Nelly is still not – listen, guys, he just got out of that cast not that long ago, shortly before their first exhibition game, which was not that long ago. This is going to take time. We said it. Once Nelly is 100% and he's comfortable and he's finding his place within this team, within this roster, we'll have to look and see what their rotation looks like in 2 weeks. Might be similar. I don't know. Might be completely different. But Nelly will find his place on offense. He will certainly find his place. I was impressed. Wagner played pretty good defense. And Boogie is a really high-level two-way player. We're going to get to the stats here in just a second. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe, all that wonderful stuff. We need to tap into free agency and pick up a big similar to Shaq. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll just go find a Shaq. Come on, Jacob Petum. What are you talking about? How many Shaqs are out there? I mean, let's be real. Yeah, and if someone's bothering you, by the way, you can ignore them, or you can block them so you don't see their comments. If Peanut Butter is being a complete problem in chat, I will ban him. Yeah, Peanut, that is the dumbest thing any halfway decent coach would be a lock for Final Four with this roster. You don't think having to replace an entire roster that even some of the best coaches would have to put this thing together as the year unfolds? It's just automatic. Boom, just like that, man. Golly, Kentucky fans, y'all are bringing down the IQ of this chat. I swear to God. Yeah, Big Z is not – he does – there was some things about him last year that stood out negatively, which was that his defense at times I thought should have been – I'm just surprised he plays a little softer, and I was hoping that was something they would get fixed. I'm not going to say he looks super weak, but he doesn't make a lot of power moves to the rim. Boogie is a shooter, just had a bad night against Lipscomb. Arkansas kind of fell on Nelly Davis to be the three-point getter, but he got injured, can't shoot threes. This is also very true, Mr. Warlight. Unfortunately, Calipari didn't recruit any more deep scores. Well, there's not very many Nellies in free agency. There's not many Nellies in the portal. They just don't. There's just not very many of them. I don't know why we struggle so badly shooting. Oh, Lord. I made 10 free throws in a row. Not that hard. This is Jacob Pete. You're right, man. Then why aren't you on this roster, Jacob? Did you run out of eligibility? Come on, dude. I can make free throws. Come on. Baylor tonight. Omer looked really good. Omer nearly had a triple-double tonight. No, I'm sorry, double-double. I thought that. The assist I thought was a little high. I refreshed ESPN and said he had 9 assists. I thought he had more than 1. They have him for 1. I thought he had at least 4 or 5, but they've got him down for 1. But Amir played really well tonight. 12 boards. There it is. 12 boards, 15 points. Edgecombe, who got a little banged up there, he had 5 assists, 8 boards, 11. He was somewhat close to a triple-double, just 5 away and on the assist and 2 away from rebounds. He did have 11 points. Nunn had 16 points for them. They managed to get 13 points off their bench with an 8-man rotation. It was surprising to me how wide open some of these three-point shots were for Baylor. It was very surprising. That had to – I mean, they've got a couple of guys here that can score at will outside or really close to it. Now, to be fair, Edgecombe was 1 of 7 outside. Roach was 1 of 4. 1 of 5 from Celeste. They kept calling him Celeste. So, and by the way, Baylor only shot 11 of 17. They were 64% at the free throw line. So they managed to win a close game and not necessarily do it all at the free throw line. I mean, they held on to a really good lead. They had those clutch three-pointers when they needed them. They had, at one point, they had 9 points off threes in like under a minute. I mean, they've got good burst shooting-wise. They've got good. They score. They could score in bunches, and then they can go on like a little scoring drought, and then they go back into scoring into bunches. Like they're just really good at that. Omer was impressive tonight. Like I said, I thought he had at least a few more assists. Really, I thought he had 3 or 4 more. But he ended up with 12 boards, 3 offensive rebounds by himself. Baylor had 9 total offensive boards. Arkansas out-rebounds these guys. They out-rebounded. In fact, Arkansas had 12 offensive boards tonight. 12 offensive boards. I mean, that's as many assists as Baylor had. That's pretty damn impressive. Again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. I appreciate it. Yeah, Peanut, I think I'm just going to – it was nice knowing you, man, but you're getting to the point where it's just – you're annoying. Like, I think you're just being – we know what you're doing, man. Yeah, last year I felt Mush checked out because he knew he was leaving. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Edgecombe's – you're not wrong about that, Jacob. That dunk was insane. That dude's good, man. I mean, they've got some ballers on that roster. Baylor, I was shocked at how badly they played against Gonzaga. I was shocked. I know they had a whole lot of new pieces, but with that head coach and the amount of talent that they were able to pile in, and they did tonight what they did was with an 8-man rotation. Now, against against the Zags, obviously they went a little bit deeper because things got out of hand. They played more guys, not that any of them got significant minutes. It was really, like I said last week, it was more of an 8-man, about a 7 to 8-man rotation realistically for Baylor. But tonight, I mean, they did something similar, right? Just a short rotation and took care of business. Took care of business, did enough to get the win. But listen, I will say, as bad as Arkansas started off, I thought there was a chance this could get ugly. When they went up 11 points, I thought there's a chance here this could get ugly. And Arkansas kept fighting. I was very impressed. Again, they switched more to a FCP, to some full court press, executed well. I thought very well coached, good timing. It looked like they'd been working on that all offseason. I wondered, well, we're going to see more of this energy and more of that execution, and it just kind of vanished. I mean, it's not that they didn't press, but it was like it wasn't with the same amount of energy. If they didn't get a turnover, it was just kind of like, well, another guy would just peel off, and it just looked like Baylor then just countered it pretty well. But again, the cleanup around the rim has to get better. The lane discipline has to get better. I mean, Cal, no matter what these Kentucky fans will tell you, he hung his hat on great defense, great lane discipline, not leaving guys, especially these guys that shoot north of 35% outside, not leaving them so damn wide open. Again, I think a lot of that has to do with you got freshmen out there. This is a whole new group of guys, right? Some of these guys, a lot of them never played together. Some of them, obviously, you've got the former Kentucky players, but a lot of these guys just trying to get a feel for the game as they play together as a team, and that's going to happen. Nights like tonight's going to happen. I wonder sometimes if Big Z is lost in communication, because I don't know how many times I see the dude look around and he's doing that. Watch him. Anytime he gives up buckets, or anytime he fouls, or anytime he gives up a board and it leads to whatever, just watch him. He's just kind of doing this. He either someone else on the floor is lost, or maybe he's hearing Cal tell him something different. I don't know. When Cal's shouting at him, he just looks lost to me. So Cal and Brazil just, I don't know. I wasn't really impressed. Big Z got a lot of minutes tonight. Ivicic got a lot of minutes tonight. I say a lot. It was almost 20. He got 17 minutes. Brazil got 22. And combined, they had 6 points, 8 rebounds. Combined. Again, I'll say that again. Big Z in Brazil, 1 assist, 8 boards, 6 points. Z was 0 for 3. Brazil was a little better in this department, 2 of 3, 1 of which was a cleanup basket right at the rim. Now, they did have 4 offensive boards between them, and that's okay. I'd like that number to come up a little bit. I'd like to see Brazil with maybe 3 or 4 offensive boards, especially when you got Z on the floor. They were on the floor at the same time a little bit tonight. I just don't understand why they're not getting more out of those two guys. And I hope that changes. Adu Thero played his ass off tonight. Now, he ends up in the minus and the plus minus, but this dude, 24 points, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers, 6 boards, 2 assists. Boogie Flan tonight, 17 points, 7 assists. He nearly had a double-double off scoring and assists. He also had 5 boards. These guards are flying to the ball. They're playing their ass off. I'm telling you, Nelly will come around. Nelly, by the way, Nelly and Boogie were both 8 for 8 at the free throw line. Ivicic was 2 for 2. Billy Richmond was 2 for 2. It was good to see him get a few minutes tonight. Not many. What was his minutes? He ended up with 12. Okay, that's a little more than I thought. But there's just, golly, guys. Jonas Adu tonight. Played 9 minutes. Felt like he got more. DJ Wagner started to look like maybe Wagner might go off. He shot 40%. Thero was 10 of 15. Thero was 50% outside. He was 2 for 4. Boogie Flan was 3 of 5. So they started to shoot better in the second half. but still overall was just cheeks. It just should have been better from a team perspective. Should have just been a lot better. Again, make sure you guys, I don't know what this is doing. Pause that. Stupid. Okay, there we go. Lil Z just needs to shoot three, stretch the floor. Tusk Talk, yeah, professional setup here, man, with graphics and mic. Respect. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Had help. Shout out to Travis Ford. Had a lot of help. Yeah, I agree, Transplant. Thero did some work tonight. Thero showed up, was really impressed with his play. Ryan Cameron says Carter Knox scares me when he plays. He's got to get more minutes. I think that'll come, obviously, as the season wears on. But, yeah, I don't disagree. He got 10 minutes tonight. Everyone that played got a minimum of 9 minutes, or the lowest amount of minutes was Joseph Adu. Adu got 9 minutes. Everyone was negative in the plus-minus tonight. Not surprising considering, the game. But only Brazil, if this is right, only Brazil finished 1 in the plus-minus with 4 points, 2 of 3, 0 for 1 outside. I'm surprised he didn't take – I'm surprised Brazil's not trying to be another guy outside shooting. I'm surprised he's not. Cal, I guess, has told him, no, sir. Ty, keep Kentucky fans out of your live. It's so annoying. Kicks, what do you want me to do, man? I mean, I can't boot every viewer. Some of them are being respectful. Every once in a while, they'll have a goofy thing to say. Michael Perry, they can't shoot the ball. Arkansas cannot shoot the ball. They are not a good shooting team right now, and those are just the facts. Those are just the facts. They are not a good shooting team. I mean, let's look at it. Baylor shot 27 of 58, 46% shooting. Now, their shooting went a little south there in the second half. At least it felt like it did. They were 29% off 24 attempts. That's not a good number and again, we're talking about Baylor. That's not a good number. Arkansas's perimeter defense got a little bit better. They were 11 of 17 at the free throw line. They had 9 offensive boards. That's not a bad number, really. But I mean, they had 5 out of their 8 rotators. 5 of their 8 rotators that got minutes tonight were in double-digit scoring. 5 out of 10. Everyone got buckets for Baylor, and it was just a lack of discipline by Arkansas in the paint. There's so many issues with this team, and it's like, again, this is why I knew this would happen. I just didn't think it would be this bad, right? And here come the I told you so's from the Bluegrass folks. But you got to listen. They're not wrong when they say that. This is some of the stuff they were talking about last year. They're not wrong. Arkansas lives rent-free in their heads, but they come through every one of these live shows. I know I'm not the only one they do this to, but they're not wrong when they talk about some of these issues because these were things that I can recall Kentucky fans upset with. This has got to get cleaned up. It has to. Now, I'm not saying Cal did a bad job tonight. In fact, I thought he did a great job keeping Arkansas. I thought he kept his rotation clean and tight. There wasn't anyone I thought got way too many minutes. Now I could argue there might be one guy I'd like to see get a little bit more minutes because I just respect the way he plays. That's Richmond. But, again, it's not like Richmond tore it up either. But he did have 2 boards, 1 block, 4 points. Thought defensively at times he looked pretty solid. Played with a little chip on his shoulder, and I wouldn't have been too mad if he got some more minutes. But what was his minutes? I thought it was not as many as I thought it would have been. Well, he got 12. So, yeah, I would have been okay with 15, 17 minutes, something like that. I thought it was fewer than that, actually. I thought it was about 8, but or 6 or 8 minutes. But maybe Big Z's getting too many minutes. I don't know. I did not like Arkansas's horrific shooting in the first half. It just got them off to such a slow start, and it felt like Arkansas was playing catch-up the entire – which they were. They played catch-up the entire game, literally, but it felt like they just would have a hard time recovering from that, 15% shooting off their first 12 attempts or 15 attempts or whatever it was. It was bad. And again, I wasn't in love with the shot selection tonight, but it was just – I don't know. So, again, these guys shot, 46% is not bad. Obviously, the closer to 50 you get, the better. That's pretty good shooting for them. For anybody, that's decent shooting. 29% outside, 7 of 24 is not great shooting. That's an area where you want to be north of 34 to 35% based on that many attempts, at 24 attempts, and they weren't good at the free throw line. Like, they did enough to where Arkansas probably could have won this game had they not gotten off to such a shit show start. Can't do that. And they're going to play some really good teams. The question is, once they get into SEC play, the question is, are they going to play another team this talented, this fast, this athletic? Not many, but like Alabama, Tennessee, some of these teams are going to come along and do some damage because they too have some speed. It's not just about having talent. It's about having the athleticism and the speed that Baylor had tonight. I thought they were quick in them lanes, dude. And some of that was just you got to tip your cap to Baylor. You always got to tip your cap. If you watch the way they played tonight, I was impressed. Baylor looked like a legitimate top 10 team tonight. Arkansas looked like a 16th or 20th overall ranked team. Now, ranks, they are right on the broadcast. Ranks don't mean a damn thing this point in the year. Hey, I agree with Jimmy on something. What do you know? So let's look at Arkansas's numbers then, right? We already talked Thero. Thero was him-o. This guy did not see this dude getting 24 points, 6 boards, couple assists, 2 blocks. Didn't see that coming. What a game for him, 10 of 15. That's what we're talking about. Someone said, what does it matter? Shooters shoot the other night in the last postgame show. This guy, 15 attempts, but you look at the rest of his stat sheet, right? Little foul heavy, but still, he was hustling. He was playing, couple of soft calls, 24 points off 15 attempts. You're in love with that, especially with 6 boards and 2 assists and a couple of blocks to go with it. That shows you this guy got hard-earned minutes. And he did his job on offense. Boogie Flan was 5 of 15, and he got 17 points. No, sorry, 5 of 13. My bad. So 17 points. What was that? That's 7 less points on 2 fewer attempts. And by the way, again, Arkansas did pretty good at the free throw line. I'm actually impressed. And that's where they probably made up some ground a little bit with some of their free throw shooting. So Arkansas ends up going 41%, 24 off 58 attempts. So 41%, 25% outside shooting. So once again, a sub 30% performance. They have yet to shoot north of even 29%. And this is off 20 or more attempts outside. They are not going to win a lot of games shooting like that. They are not going to win any games with a combination of shooting like that, getting off to these slow starts, having this poor lane discipline, and not cleaning things up around the rim. The switch-offs have got to be quicker. You've got to react to those screens faster. You have to switch off quicker, especially down around the post. They're just not doing it. So many issues. The other problem, too, is that Baylor did not turn the ball over a lot. Their first 4 turnovers were all based off Arkansas steals. Their first 4 turnovers were all 4 steals. And I think, what was Arkansas's total steal count? 5. Okay, yeah, that's right. So 5 steals. So 5 of their 8 were off steals, off their turnovers for Arkansas. That's not a bad number. 13 assists to 11 turnovers. You're +2 in that category. You like that. 13 assists, yeah, and just 11 turnovers. That number's starting to climb down, isn't it? The assists are climbing up. The turnovers came down a little bit. And against the team I would say is more talented and more athletic, obviously, based on who you played last. So they're starting to even some things out a little bit offensively. Passing was a little bit better tonight. Like, you weren't turning the ball over off stupid passes, off silly bounce passes, just not having a heads up or not keeping your head on a swivel and turning the ball over like they did in their first game. Less of that. But then it became, now that you played a good team who's a tournament, easily a tournament caliber team, so was your first opponent. They were I think that's a tournament caliber team. You lessen some of those silly mistakes, but then the lack of discipline really reared its head. The lane discipline and the cleanups around the rim. So Arkansas shot, again, 25% outside. So a combination of those things, you're not going to win a lot of games this year. And you guys think it's bad right now with just a couple of Kentucky fans coming in and being boogers, being booger pickers in the chat. It's only going to get worse if Arkansas doesn't clean this up. And now my chat's going to become mostly Kentucky fans. Can't let that happen. God, please don't let that happen. However, again, Arkansas shot 14 of 17 at the free throw line, 82%. 8 points came from the bench, and again, Thero's your leading scorer, 24 points. Thero would have gotten the gold chain tonight easily. I was so impressed with him. I was so impressed with Thero. My God, what the hell? Please like, share, subscribe. I don't know, man. Petition to have Kansas game count. Yeah. Andrew Bray says Hogs will be fine. We had a chance to win the game when nothing flowed right. They competed and fought all night. Things will come together. Yeah, and that's what I said earlier, Andrew. You might have been late to the live, but I did say that. There's a lot of nuts and bolts that have to come together. I'm not really, James, I mean, I hear what you're saying, man. You just need to win. I mean, that's just period. I mean, yeah, you don't want to have any losses. You need wins. Tonight would have really helped, depending on how Baylor's season unfolds. And I think Baylor's going to do just fine. I don't know if they're going to be I don't know. They definitely look like a tournament team tonight. We'll see what they do moving forward. But, yeah, Cameron says, you got to think we're only 2 games into the season. It's still super early. A lot more to work on than I thought. Definitely a lot more to work on. Again, I like the effort on the boards. I mean, they did a pretty good job. You out-rebounded them, +5. 13 assists, just 11 turnovers. Again, +2 in that area, right? Assist-to-turnover ratio. I like Thero's. Listen, Flan, you could argue, had kind of an off night, and he still had 7 assists. He almost had a double-double with assisted scoring. 17 points, 7 assists. That's very impressive on a night that people were like, Flan kind of had an off night. If that's an off night for Boogie Flan, sign me up, buddy. Sign me up. I'm not in love with 5 of 13, but, I mean, what are you going to do? I'd like to see the bench get more involved. I'd like to see Billy Richmond, if he's going to come off the bench, Brazil, eventually Adu, Knox. I want to see these guys get more involved. Knox had 4 boards and an assist, but no points. Again, Brazil with 3 boards, 4 points, 3 fouls. The only turnover machine and foul, I don't say foul trouble. He only had 3, but DJ Wagner had the most turnovers with 3 and 4 boards. So Arkansas had 28 points in the bench. They had 10 points off turnovers, 10 second chance points tonight, 15 fast break points. Those numbers have got to come up. 5 of 13 on layups. Again, I tell you, this is why Baylor, there just wasn't much there around the rim. Baylor's presence, their cleanup around the rim was so much better than Arkansas's. 5 of 13 on layups. That's not very many attempts around the rim, and that's really good. That's a good defensive number for Baylor. 5 of 13 of those buckets given up off layups. 5 of 13. Musselman had some games that were far worse than that, I'll tell you that much. Dunks, Arkansas was 3 of 4. Arkansas with a grand total of 64 total possessions. Baylor, 38 points in the paint. Guys, they got to clean that up. I mean, they have to clean that up. I mean, just think, you're going to play these teams that are two-way scoring offenses. They can do it by spreading you out, shooting the three, finishing at the rim, playing well around the post, backdoor cutters, could force turnovers, good points in transition, get turnovers. Like, you will play teams better than this Baylor team. You have got to, in my opinion, you want to start with the 3-point, with the shooting. You want to start there for sure. That's got to get figured out. My God, their play around the bucket tonight, just not good. Again, this game could have been a lot worse. I think it could have been a lot worse. Stephen Goner says you're dead on. Z and Brazil should have more offensive production, whether it's lobs or just charging in the paint. Don't tell me they're soft. Those guys can get in there off some of these matchups. Yeah. I don't know. James 1977 says, we all know the road is hard. If we played it, Bud, we would have won by 12. Maybe. Not starting off 0 for 9 outside shooting. But listen, you're going to get some of those calls at home. Michael Perry just really mad. Again, this team is not that good. Another bad year. Good night, guys. Michael, man, I bet you are a blast at the keggers, my man. Are you hitting up Whiskey 101, just hiding in the corner in Fayetteville, drinking your rum and Coke, just mad? Ugh. It's the kind of vibe you're giving off, Michael. We don't know how this year's going to go. Calm down, Michael. It's going to be okay. Jasmine says, bottom line, Baylor won because they put in more effort. We lost because we are lazy, simple, no need to go so deep analyzing. It's almost like I get paid to do this. I wonder if we can get Taylor Green to play hoops. Where would you put Taylor Green on the floor? I mean, he's 6'6", but does he play the 3 spot? Can he play out in the wing? He could be a small. You could play him inside small, maybe. He's got some speed. He's got some athleticism, man. Who knows, man? Maybe he could be a point guard. Wait, he turns the ball over a little too much. Maybe not. What's up with these people coming out of the woodworks? Listen, it's a loss. It's a loss in a game that people saw Baylor get absolutely just crushed against Gonzaga, and they thought Arkansas would come out and beat them, and they don't realize that this was not the same Baylor team that played against the Zags. It just wasn't. Dude, Dalen would be damn good under Cal. Maybe. I don't know. Matt Jones is pretty good. Marcus Monk would have been pretty good, right? I didn't watch any. I didn't get a chance to watch much football today. Not gonna lie. Saw Ole Miss the way they won, and that was depressing. Ole Miss is just. I mean, we have to face facts. Ole Miss left Arkansas in the dust in the NIL era. Period. I know fans are gonna get triggered at that. I don't care. It's just the truth. They left Arkansas in the dust. Yeah, Georgia's a little overrated. I've thought that for a while, but there it is. There it is. There's our typical OBS crash. I have no idea why it does that. It'll just crash, just randomly. Just blame Kentucky. It's probably a Kentucky fan. See, and this is the take that matters at the end of the night, and this is it. I like what Stephen Gunner says here. Hey, for having a lot of holes and looking messy, we lost by 5, and we were within 3 in under a minute, he says. Arkansas made it a game, and this is just these are the facts, okay? I'm going to do something MSNBC, CNN, and all those bullshit propagandists won't tell you. Arkansas was within reach, and considering how good Baylor played tonight and how shitty Arkansas played tonight, got off to an 0-for-9 start outside, shot sub 25% throughout most of the first half, or a lot of it anyways, still hung around and made this a ball game. So I'm not – listen, this is why I'm not buying that, oh, the year's already over. They're going to be terrible during conference play. I'm not buying it yet. Let's see how this plays out, one game at a time. That's a very balanced, good take there by Stefan. Don't say facts tie. That's facts Stefan right there. Good job, Stefan. I love that take. That is accurate. No need to get pissy. No need to let these Kentucky fans get to you. Yeah, they're going to drive some of you off. You're going to complain that I'm not booting them out. I can't boot them all out just simply because of their presence. I can't just boot them out. That's not how it works. A lot of room for growth is Tercer. Good seeing you, Tercer. It's been a minute. A lot of room for growth. Boogie Flan is great. DJ Wagner, Wagner, 8 points tonight. 0 for 3 outside. He shot 40%, right? Did not have a very good night. We know he's capable of a lot more. Some of these guys just went cold. Their shooting was atrocious. Davis was 2 of 9. Did go 4 for 4 at the free throw line. And that's something else we got to get used to. You're not going to see, I don't think, at least based on what we've seen so far this year with this team, you're not going to see 28, 30 or so free throw attempts at the line. You're not going to see a lot of that with Cal. Cal wants to beat you on the floor. Will there be times when he wants to get somebody in a little bit of foul trouble and try to get someone to the free throw line, and maybe you do have a night where you rack up a whole bunch of attempts at the free throw line? Sure, everybody does that. But it's not going to be like with Muss. That's the difference here. Muss could grind it out at the free throw line, and that's something he wanted to do. He wanted to get an opponent in foul trouble. He wanted them to dig deeper into their bench and give guys that don't normally give a lot of minutes or get a lot of minutes, put them into a moment where they might have a deer in headlight moment out on the floor, and it's an advantage to Arkansas because they have their veterans on the floor while the opponent's having to sub in guys that don't usually get a lot of minutes. You're not going to get that under Cal a lot. And, again, you're going to get a lot of everyone's best because it's Calipari. You're going to get everyone else's best, especially when you have a rank next to your name, when you have a little bit of oomph behind your name, the way Arkansas has since going back to 2021. You're going to get everyone's best. And no one's going to overlook you. No one's going to overlook you, period. Again, especially with this roster, with knowing what Bud Walton's capable of, what Hog fans are capable of, and who's coaching this basketball team. So this is just something you got to get used to. Before, I would say it's the same thing with Musselman, but he had to build that reputation at Arkansas, right? No one, when he entered the league, no one was like, oh, no, we're all in trouble. No one was saying that. This guy's coming from where? He's a failed NBA coach. What? Look what he did. Again, with last year being the exception. But so it's a different pull. And I think this roster's talented. I'm not freaking out. There's no reason to freak out. There's no reason to head for the hills. Let Kentucky fans get to you. Let any SEC fan base get to you. Listen, they're in here for a reason. Kentucky fans are going into these hog chats for a reason. They're still mad about Cal. They're still mad about these former players. They're still mad about these kids they thought they were going to end up at Kentucky. They're mad that they're in the red and white. And that's fine. Let them be mad. They're going to come in. They're going to come in here during losses. They're going to spew their nonsense. They're going to tell you, "I told you so." Blah blah blah. Who gives a shit? This is a different team, different roster. He mixed things up a little bit differently. We'll see if he can get it done. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Arkansas is a lock for the SEC. I can give you my guesses all day long, like I did when I said Arkansas would do well in conference play, but there's no way of knowing that for a fact. It's a new job, new set of players for the most part. We're just going to have to see how they grind the year out. A lot of speed bumps along the way. A lot of things they got to get right. Hopefully this was a get-right moment for them. Hopefully in the same way you thought the TCU game would be, maybe Baylor something will show up on tape and they'll figure it out. So that's what it is at the end of the night, right? Facts, Stephen. There you go, Joe. I see why Cal wanted to leave Kentucky. Their fans are unbearable. Tower Hand 469 says it's hard to be a Razorback fan. Well, again, I'm going to tell you something, man. There's a lot of people that would love to be in the situation Arkansas is in when it comes to basketball and baseball, period. The fact that you had John Tyson help you build this roster, the donations to basketball, the fact that you've now had your third Hall of Fame coach. It's real easy to be pessimistic. Humans are naturally pessimistic. That's how we've survived so long, right? We're naturally pessimistic. We're naturally afraid of things. We're all these different things. But it's a lot harder to be a lot harder to be excited or hopeful despite what happened tonight. It's ingrained in our DNA. I get it, especially if you're a Hog fan because of how last year unfolded. But let's not sit here and act like Arkansas basketball hasn't been relevant when Musselman took you to 3 straight Sweet 16s and a couple of Elite 8s. Last year was tough. Losing this game tonight it sucks. But you have, again, your third Hall of Fame coach at Arkansas. How many programs can say that? You have a roster stockpiled with NBA talent. You have a possible lottery pick once again at Arkansas. There's only maybe 3 schools in the SEC who you look at and you go, okay, they had this success in postseason play. They had this guy get drafted. They had this amount of guys drafted as lottery picks. That understanding of Arkansas basketball hasn't been around throughout the entirety of the 2000s. From 2000, or really you could go all the way back to the late 90s. From late 90s to 2020, Arkansas basketball was not a relevant – they weren't relevant in this space at all. And now you're relevant enough, and, of course, it helped with John Tyson, and it helped enough with the money that you have in Northwest Arkansas. Coach Cal is coaching your team. He's not going to just go to any team. I don't buy that for a second. Now, if there's a team that says, hey – we've got NIL and we're going to be able to buy you a hell of a first roster. Yeah, I'm sure he'd probably go to a lot of different places, but he came to Arkansas. And again, despite what those other fans will tell you, there are a lot of other fan bases that would love to be in the situation that Arkansas is in. So again, I'm not telling you to not be pessimistic. I understand it. Football is what it is. Baseball's seen back-to-back early exits in postseason play. Let's ask Kentucky how their baseball's going. Let's ask them how football's going, right? They have jack shit going for them. But Arkansas will once again be expected to host the regional, right? The expectations for Arkansas baseball every year is Omaha. The expectations, thanks to Musselman, for Arkansas basketball is once again similar to what it was under Nolan Richardson. making Sweet 16s and Elite 8s, and hopefully you get back into the Final Four. So it's real easy to be pessimistic, but sometimes it's good to take a look around and see what you have, the good things that you do have. I get it. From a football perspective, you feel like they should be better. They are what they are. Nobody should be surprised about what's going on with football, especially what we've seen in the last 2 years. We'll see if Cal can get it fixed. Hopefully he does. And I think there's a good chance that he does. Pelfrey tenure was hard to endure. Was hard to be a Hog fan. It was rough, brother. You're not lying. You're not lying. That was rough. Pelfrey was rough. That first season, you thought it might have been promising. You know, you get past Indiana. I don't think Arkansas was favored in that Indiana game either, if I remember right. And you thought, we're going to be able to build off this, and it didn't. Imagine texting your ex's new man, telling them they won't have a good relationship with that girl. That's what Kentucky's doing. That's probably right, Kerper. You're not wrong. Kill'em 710 says we beat ourselves tonight. Too many bad shots. Yeah, again, I'm not in love with the shot selection tonight. Some of it was just their shots wouldn't fall. You know, I mean, I don't know who James is talking to. I guess he's talking to somebody in chat. I don't know. We lost a game. Move on. Talking crap about our coach or team doesn't win games. Who are you talking to, man? I'm assuming you're talking to someone in chat. I don't know what you're talking about. I've sat here and told you that no matter what Kentucky fans tell you, things aren't all that bad. I don't know. James, are you new here? Arkansas got more recognition in the preseason of this year than the 2 years combined when we made it to the Elite Eight. Pooh Bear DePlug says, what a goofball. So let's not call it. James is, come on now. Hate to say it, but no. I don't know, man. I guess James just doesn't want anybody to ever talk or analyze a game. I don't know, man. Defense played good. Offense will get better, says Caden Dugan. I don't know about that one, man. I thought Arkansas's defense kind of looked like shit tonight. I was just not impressed. Again, clean up around the rim, not impressed. Wide open threes by guys, by the way, who are high percentage 3-point shooters. Not good. Lane discipline could have been a lot better. Too many easy points in the paint. Too many easy points. I don't really agree with that part. Pooh Bear to Plug says we've shot consistently bad. That's the scary thing, and that is again, that's true. The shooting is not off to a good start. Again, I think this is something they can clean up. Shot selection does need to get better. Pigpen says, I think the biggest concern was defense and rebounding and obviously 3-point shooting. Rebounding wasn't that bad, though. I mean, they did out-rebound. They did out-rebound Baylor. What was it? +6, +5. It wasn't that bad. He had 12 offensive boards to their 9. Now, you would rather you'd rather them not have 9 offensive boards, but I mean that's still a pretty good number. Arkansas with the 12. Again, I'd like to see a little bit more bench action. I'd like to see the bench come in and contribute a little more. 8 points off your bench. How many rebounds? Let's see. 6, 7, 8 boards, 8 points. 8 boards, 8 points, 2 assists, 2 blocks. Arkansas had 6 blocks tonight. By the way, some of Cal's best teams, again, great defense, but also shot blocks. What is this? Back-to-back games, they've had 4 or 5 blocks. So that's at least the good thing, right? I mean, that's something you can say is they're getting the shot blocks. Thiero had 2 tonight. Big Z had 1. God, what is that, like 2 for him on the year? Wagner with 1. Richmond and Brazil, between the 2 of them, they had 2 total. Oh, someone in chat. Okay. So James is a little bit, I see. I get what's going on. James is a little bit behind the live chat, and he's talking to someone in chat. Or he's a little bit behind the live show. Okay, I get it. I wish you guys would tag who it is you're talking to. You know you could do that, right? You can hit at like you do in Discord or whatever, and then you could tag the person you're talking to. Because it confuses the hell out of me. It confuses me. I don't know who you're talking to. Oh, man. Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn tonight. That's right, Kate. But we will. Kate Dreyer, very well said. I agree. I think they will. It's just one game. It's not the end. It's not the end of the world. Let's be positive about something instead of all the negativity talk. Damn it. This is Mr. Kicks. Well, I mean, listen, it is still relevant, right? I mean, we're going to discuss the negative. That's just part of it, man. You do a great job, Ty. Laugh out loud, talking about some super negative folks that are never happy. You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that. There are some people that are never happy. Oh, got another Kentucky fan that's going to tell you how things are going to go. Straight Killa 369, who wants to inform us that Arkansas is going to lose 12 to 14 games and won't make the tournament. I don't know about that. Maybe. I don't know. Anything can happen. I still think Arkansas is going to be fine. There's another salted Kentucky fan. I know, man. They're everywhere. Hey, we had a super chat, and I didn't read it. I'm usually really good at staying on top of these. It was Mr. Kicks, who says, second game in the season, and everyone is losing their mind again. Second game of the season, chill out. Yeah, if you're playing like this in the middle or the end of December, and you've racked up some losses, yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm going to give you an honest thought. I'm not going to give you some bullshit. I'm just going to tell you straight up, here's what I think's going on. I've lost subscribers, viewers for that. I don't care. I'm not going to kiss this program's ass. I won't do it. Hey, Ty, still football season. We'll check back in January when football's over and the real season of basketball begins. Laugh out loud. Okay. I mean, I still love your being here, but okay. I make a prediction. Arkansas beats Kentucky, says Charles Taylor. Right now, I'm not willing to even say I'm not. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that alone right now. Sorry, Ty, about the weird chats. I've been dealing with Kentucky fans all day. They will make you crazy. Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do, James, like, again, Arkansas is rent-free in the mind of Kentucky fans. I only bring them up here because they're in my chat. You can't boot them all. You just can't. I can't tell a guy who's telling you that Arkansas is going to win 12 to 14. That's his opinion. That's straight Killa's opinion. I'm not going to boot him out for that until he starts when he starts trolling. Am I actively rooting against Kentucky? Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. I am. I'm not. I'm actively rooting against your school. But I'll give you my honest take on what I think of Kentucky. I will. So I don't go to Kentucky pods. Why do they come to ours? Well, again, because you have their coach, Kate. You have some of their former players, guys that they tried to recruit, you know. Some of the rhetoric on Twitter definitely happens there as well. Auburn and Houston's a really damn good game right now. It's 26 up. So I'm going to leave it there. I do appreciate everyone. Next week's schedule might be a little wonky. The rest of November's schedule might be a little wonky, but just, you know, again, like I tell you guys, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow. By the way, go follow Arkansas Sports Network on Facebook. Shout out to them for streaming the show there as well. Even though there's people there that apparently don't believe anyone should talk sports, shouldn't analyze. Okay, don't watch is what I would tell you. But yeah, like, share, subscribe. Check out the links provided for you down below. Consider joining Patreon. By the way, we did our Patreon giveaway. I might as well just say it now really quick. Ron Brewer, the $4 card, where'd it go? The Ron Brewer card for our Patreon. I don't know where the hell I put it. Oh, it's over here. My bad. It's right here in front of me. So congrats to Chance Womack. He got the Ron Brewer card. Check that out. Congrats to him. Anthony Black. This is not autographed, but it's the Anthony Black rookie card there. It's not technically a rookie card, but anyways, that went to Heartbroken Hogs. Shout out to him. Kobe Hamilton card, autographed, went to Shane Meyer. And again, these are for the month of October. Pat Bev, Trey Carter. I think this is his second win right there. Congrats to him. This is autographed. Patrick Beverly. And then Mason Jones went to James Swope, autographed card. The next cards are right here. For the month of November, you guys, this is awesome. We got some killer cards. Again, you got to be a Patreon supporter to get to be eligible. How about Lloyd Phillips? Lloyd Phillips will be the $4 card for the month of November. $8 card will be a foil. I call it foil. Really gorgeous Treylon Burks card. Look at that. That's for the $8 folks. Legendary status. These cards are baller. I have never seen this guy. I've not seen this card autographed, but you guys remember Jalen Tate autographed. Mr. Jalen Tate. Where's that light so I can get some reflection? There it is right there. Jalen Tate. It only gets better. Bobby Portis autographed. Again, this is legendary status. Right there it is. Autographed. And then JDN himself. JD Note. Autographed card right there. Boom. Those are all legendary status cards. Sign up. Come be a part of legendary status or Patreon to have a shot at winning one of these cards. Congrats to the winners for the month of October. Good luck to you folks. Remember, you got to sign up to Patreon and be legendary status to be eligible for one of those 3 autographed former Arkansas cards. So there you have it. Lots of big blue big blue mosquitoes in the Razorback chats. Always are. All right, people are piling out, so I'm going to end it as well. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you sometime next week. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm live. Okay? All right. Even to you fine Kentucky folks who are not still butthurt about Cal, and you know those former Kentucky players no longer a part of Big Blue Nation. I don't know. Enjoy this night. We all know you are. But for Hog fans, I think they'll be okay. But they got a lot of things to work on and to get fixed. So, again, I will see you guys next week. Have a good weekend.